Welcome back. It's finally another Apex video. It's been a long time, rough year for a lot of us. Don't mind the clutter all here. I'm just addressing it in the beginning here. It's gonna be a mess for a couple of videos here and there. Working on getting it cleaned up, just as the rest of us are kind of cleaning up out of this COVID pandemic. But we're coming back, and I'm here trying to make videos again. So, today, as you may notice, we're going to be doing a tier list video. Is what I've got over here for us. I'm starting off just with the regular old most car brands tier list. That's what it's called. That's what we're doing. It's just car brands. Some old, some defunct, some, well, most still going. So, without any further ado, let's hop into it. First off, we do have Acura. Acura is a brand who's made us usually good cars, I'd say. I'm gonna give Acura a great, just because they're not. I wouldn't give them a legendary, because even though they are owned by their parent company Honda, and here in the States at least, most Acuras are rebadged Hondas. So while they are fantastic cars, they aren't necessarily their own. I mean, nowadays they are, and I'd still give them credit for that. But they only don't get a legendary for that reason. Alfa Romeo, I'm going to put them in the good category. Just because, while I would kind of say their cars are legendary, the reliability is not so much. They have had some iffy moments here and there, to say the least, but they've always been a fantastic racing brand, a fantastic just car company in general. From modern times now with the 4C, the 8C, their appearance in F1 again, because they were back in F1 in, I believe it was the early mid 80s, and I don't know how much further they stretched before that, but yeah. AMC, terrible. They did technically make the Jeep, which is why they don't get atrocious. No, 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 no. They're gonna get passable. Because I'm remembering, I was thinking in my heart, the first thing that popped to mind was the Gremlin and the Pacer. Those are atrocious. While actually, they're not that bad, but they're pretty atrocious. But then in my head, the Javelin came, thinking about the Jeep, and just a couple other muscle cars. Yeah. Ariel, great. Fantastic. I know they've really only made their two cars, the Atom and the Nomad, and they are kind of glorified go-karts. But, I mean, I've never driven one, but they look great. I really want to put Aston higher because their cars are gorgeous, and I've always loved their exhaust notes, everything. But for me, they don't really hold up. I think nowadays, if I was ranking their 2019 and newer cars, I would put them on Legendary, along with their F1, because you guys don't probably know this, but Aston Martin's my team. F1, Aston Martin. But I've been following them back since they were Jordan through all the Team Silverstone stuff. So it's not just a coincidence, and I might be a little biased, but their cars in the past have been meh. Well, not meh. They're pretty good. That's why they're not impassable. Next up, Audi. Audi's got to be legendary. Back from, I'm counting technically Auto Union, back from those early Grand Prix racers with the mid-engines, all the way up to all of the Le Mans cars from Matthias Ekstrom winning in DTM with several cars, the TT, the the RS5s, RS4s also. Um, just them. Also, again, Ekstrom in the S1 Quattro in Rallycross from the original S1 Quattro back in Group B. Audi's got to be legendary. They have to be. There's no really if, ands, or buts about it. They kind of gotta be. And Bentley, they're kind of in the between here, between good and great. I'm gonna give them good because I've seen a lot of their old kind of coach built cars are great with the 8-liter straight engines. Those are monstrous from up to now with the Continental and just the upgrades, their concept cars with the EXP, their Le Mans history. They're pretty good, but the thing is they've always seemed boat-like, which I guess is the point. And I guess I'm judging it off of that because they seem to be a sports car that's a boat, but I know they are in my heart of hearts a Grand Tourer, but eh, I can't. I gotta go with BMW as well as a legendary, just because in my mind I picture the E30. I had to think about that one. I wanted to say E30 series, but that's not right. Pretty much any of the M series cars, the M1 is kind of considered to be garbage from the 80s, but I enjoy it. I like the wedge shape. I I like it. They've had their success as well. Bugatti, I feel bad about doing this, but terrible. Utterly terrible. They are very powerful, very fast, but my mind always goes to the Veyron not being able to go around the Nürburgring. Oh, I know the Nürburgring isn't that all and everything. When you have a car that powerful, that fast, and it doesn't hold up amongst a lot of the other things, especially when it's a multi-million-dollar car, such as what I assume the Aston Martin Valkyrie is, even the Valhalla, and the Vulcan. Like, I know they're all kind of designed for different purposes and different things. A Bugatti's a little bit more flashy, but no, just no. And the only thing for me that really saves them from being atrocious is I think it's the Type 23, as it's called. Also an old Grand Prix racer, along with the I always get it wrong, but I think it's the Type 57 Atlantic. The kind of swoop back, the Type Z that would be in GTA. That car, the and their styling kind of saves it for me. But you know what isn't? Buick. Buick's also terrible. The thing is, for me, I think a lot of their 60s cars is what saves it from being atrocious for me. Because all I know is terrible Buicks. Just terrible. I don't even have words to describe. I am kind of biased against American car brands, which is probably why Acura isn't in great, and AMC is kind of down further as well. But there are good American cars, and to show that, I'm going to give Cadillac a grade. Because they've always had kind of performance-ish models while being luxury. They do kind of compare to Bentley, whereas Bentley, again, to me, kind of seems like a confused identity. But Cadillac seems like aggressive luxury. Kind of in the same manner Aston Martin is. But just nowadays with the new Escalade, the new, what is it, CT5V? something like that. It just came out. It's for 2022. They just announced it. It's one of the only super sport sedans left with a manual. Just Cadillac has been killing it along with the like Eldorados in the 60s and stuff. Compared to Buick, doesn't really have a place. Whereas even with Chevy here, Chevy has good economy cars along with cars like the Corvette and the Camaro that give it a strong foundation. Same with Cadillac. Cadillac has its good cars, it has its great cars, and it kind of has those legendary cars like most of the CTS Vs, CT5V, I think is what the new one is, or I think it's CTS 5V or something. It's a really weird name, but it those just the upper and lower class of the Chevy lineup don't, or they actually hold their ground, and Buick just in the middle doesn't. It just doesn't. Next on to Caterham. I'm going to give Caterham Legendary solely for their history, as I will do to Ferrari kind of as well, but Ferrari also deserves it. Caterham does as well, while most of their cars are slash kind of the same, with just different packages on them. So the one kind of car is why I think it's Ariel's predecessor, kind of sort of, in that it paved the way for that style of car. You can do just about anything with it. You can get the base model and it's a fun little thing. You can get the whole ripped out top end package that's track monster. You can get kind of the middle ground, middle high, whatever, and it's a fun little road ripper. They're all kind of track weapons type deals, but it's the same car, but you can do so much with it. I wouldn't say it's almost modular, but obviously it's the same thing. Chevrolet, I'm not a Chevy fan. I really, really dislike Chevy. But just on the Camaro alone, it's legendary. Now they're kind of works with Toyota in the 90s were pretty garbage, but I don't think that's enough to detract from the legendary. And again, just the stories behind the Corvette from beginning to up now the mid-engine C8 and even the Aerovet when they were trying to get the mid-engine Corvette back, I think it was in the 70s, maybe it was early 80s. Their trucks are workhorses, and yeah, I am a Ford guy, by the way. I said I'm biased against American cars, but if I had to choose one, it would be Ford. But Chevy deserves the legendary status. Absolutely, they do. Citroen, they'll go to great. I was gonna give them good. No, they'll be good. I'd say they're a lot of the road cars. I don't know much about them. Obviously, they're a French brand that we do not get in the United States. So again, I'm biased without knowing, or without because I don't have knowledge. But I've seen the rally stuff with Sebastian Loeb, just all around. I've seen the rallycross. I'm very much into rally, Formula One, and rallycross. Not a whole lot of other stuff. Well, that's not true. I'll watch anything. I've been trying to get myself into Formula E, but just haven't been consistent with it. Used to be a big NASCAR head, but not doesn't do it for me anymore. And I used to be big into DTM as well, but when Mercedes dropped out, when I think that was 2017 or so, I stopped watching. So, yeah. I mean, I was there for Audi. I was Audi fanboy. Audi probably has to be my number one brand, but I just don't know much about Citroen. Their racing heritage seems good, but their regular old Econo box doesn't seem there. I'm gonna do the same thing for Dacia. Just from watching Grand Tour and seeing James May kind of hype over them, I would have given them a passable because they kind of seem like they're there. Daewoo, I don't know much about the Chinese brand, so they're gonna go there. I just don't know what they do, don't know how they do, and I'm gonna give Daihatsu a passing grade. Just kind of the same dealio that I don't know much about them, but I do know enough more than I do with Daewoo that I know that their cars are okay. I don't know how great they are, how fantastic they are. I don't know if they're terrible. I don't know their reliability. I just don't know. Datsun, I don't think Datsun's still around because I know that Nissan had bought them a long time ago. I don't know quite the year. I think it was 60s, 70s, 80s, somewhere in that realm. Nissan had bought them, which, hearing their story, I was surprised Nissan bought them so early in their history. But I don't know. But for the Datsun cars, I do know just between the 510 and the, well, what are the Nissan Zs? Yeah, I'm a big fan of Datsun. All right, on to DMC, DeLorean Motor Company. They get a passable. The DeLorean was all right. I think the DeLorean looks fantastic in that stainless steel body. The motor is piss poor, but I think overall the car's an all right package. Not great, not bad. I I would love to own one, but I would have to be a several multimillionaire and it'd be like my 20th car. I would not own it just to be a part of that loyal DeLorean like club. And Dodge, legendary again. You have to. Between just now, like more modern, I think it's 2016, 2017 with the Viper ACR destroying track records. Between just the history of the Viper, the Challenger, the Charger, not even including the Hellcat, the Demon, none of that, and their crazy obsession with the horsepower in the T-Rex, the Trackhawk, discounting all of that, which is what I think gives it the legendary. You have the history of, while I don't agree with the General Lee stood for, you have the iconic General Lee. You have just, I think of, I don't remember what it's called, Plum Crazy Purple on the 70s Challengers. Fantastic. Dodge has always had that rivalry all the way streaming back throughout their entire history from or in racing, that aggression, that power, all of that. And I love that. I think that that is fantastic. They deserve it and they need it. But guys, that's where I'm going to call it. This is part 1 of these ranking the auto brands. I'm going to keep going and we'll have the other parts up. I don't know how many parts this will have because I don't quite know how many brands there are down here. I'm thinking it'll be a 3-part thing, but stay tuned and figure out where your favorite car brand ranks and see what I gotta say. Feel free to debate me in the comments, leave a like, and let me know. I'll try to respond as much as I can. Alright, peace.